Why'd you pick the name Meredith? You've taken little extracts from stories, put them under each of the chapter headings. That was a nice touch. Really helped to balance the groundbreaking clinical research with moving, personal accounts. Only you don't say who wrote them. You say a 5-year-old girl, a 10-year-old girl, an 11-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old boy, but I wrote them all. My dad had just died. You don't explain that part. My dad was walking home from work one day when a complete stranger lost control of her car and pinned him up against someone's garden wall. And 15 minutes later he died there, still stuck between the car and the wall. And everyone kept giving me these really stupid explanations that mostly involved this triumphant ascent into heaven, but someone left a newspaper out. And I knew how to read. So, and my mother, well, she couldn't really look after me. So for a while there, my life was this revolving door of aunts and uncles and grandmas and granddads who came over to do it for her. And I'm no expert on this kind of thing, but I would call that possibly traumatic. Definitely destructive, formative incident that may or may not have caused some of the symptoms you describe here. Do you know how many drugs I've been on, Vivi? 6. I wrote the list up this morning. The first one I couldn't get out of bed. So you swapped that for something that had me bouncing off the walls, but also made me so fat I didn't want to leave the house. You countered that with the pill that made my hands shake, so swapped it for something that made me nauseous for the whole 4 months it took me to adjust to it. And then my vision started blurring and I wasn't sleeping again and I was having these really bad nightmares, so you added something for the insomnia and something for the anxiety, and I'm sorry that I have to ask this, Vivi, because it does seem so blindingly obvious, but did you ever think that maybe the reason this course of treatment is so ineffective is because your original diagnosis was actually incorrect? Why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you ask me if you could use my stories? Is this still a safe space for me? Because that name you chose, Meredith, I fucking hate that name.